1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
You ready?
It's the Queen of Royal Badness.
It's time for the Raw Report with Robin Ayers. Highlighting people and things you should know about. Robin's got you covered. Follow Robin at Robin Ayers. You're listening to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Robin's got a lot to talk about.
Welcome to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580, where we bring you the latest in entertainment news, trending topics, and interviews. I'm your host, Robin Ayers, with you Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. on your drive home, or you're already at home, either way. I'm glad that you are joining us today. That, as you know, is the late, great Prince. Happy birthday. Happy heavenly birthday to Prince the Great. Everyone has been posting their pictures and their memories of Prince today. And so I'm glad to see that he's receiving all this posthumous love. But we wanted to send a happy birthday to him. Listen, today, as every other day, you are welcome to call in if you want to give your opinion on anything, chime in on something, say hello to me. Say hello to our contributor today, or Andy. You can do that by calling 1-800-920-1580. You are also able to join us right now over in our YouTube chat, which is always so fun. I think you should go over there just because. See what everybody's talking about. Even if you don't get in on the conversation, see what they're talking about, because there's always something really, really good. Hello. I see you all joining in already. So yeah, go ahead, do that. Make sure that you're following all of our KBLA 1580 social media pages as well. You can also follow me at Robin Ayers and say hello to me while you're doing it. Listen, let's go ahead and get to a couple of updates for you. I wanted to bring this to you because I mentioned it the other day. You know, cosmetic surgery. We've been talking about that quite a bit lately because it's a hot topic in light of the really unfortunate, tragic death of Jackie O, who is DC Young Fly's, the mother of his children, his long-standing girlfriend or fiance, wife, his partner. She passed away allegedly after a mommy makeover. And Moniece Slaughter, who is an entrepreneur, reality star, whom we love, we adore her. She was initially scheduled to go and get herself plastic surgery as well. And she just had a child, by the way. So she was dealing with image issues, as we all do. And she made the announcement recently that she, unfortunately, in her words, she's not going to go ahead with the surgery. Part of that is obviously she was still going to do it, but she was taking all that information away from social media to be sensitive to what's going on, be sensitive to the times. But in her case, she's really fortunate. She received she did some pre-operative work, and she received word that her EKG was irregular. So something with her heart was not right. There was definitely something that she didn't want to go ahead and pursue. Her doctors were saying, we can do another one and see if that goes right. This often happens sometimes. And she's like, I'm not going to do it. So it was a heartbreaking moment for her, because now she has to go through the battles of having to, the whole thing that we talk about, having to look at yourself in the mirror. And she says that she's tried the working out, tried all of the things, but none of it seems to be working. So this was going to be her last shot. And unfortunately, she's had an irregular EKG. So she's not going to go ahead with the cosmetic surgery right now. I'm personally kind of happy about that, just because it's not a secret how I feel about it. So, but I'm still wishing her well, because mentally that is not easy when you're dealing with a new child, dealing with image issues. It's just not easy. So I'm sending my love to Moniece. But I can't lie about it. I am happy that she's not going to go through with that surgery. In other news, Brian McKnight Jr., he made a statement. He said, listen, I want to let all of you know, in light of all this stuff that was happening with my dad, Brian McKnight, the Brian McKnight, he says he will not be changing his name, despite all the people telling him that he should change his name, because why be associated? If you're estranged with your father, why be associated? Well, he said, listen, I love my name, number one, but also he named his son Brian McKnight. So here's the deal. We have Brian McKnight, the singer, his first son, Brian McKnight Jr. Brian McKnight, the singer, the father, had another child named Brian McKnight, and his son, Brian McKnight Jr., also had another Brian McKnight. So you have 4 Brian McKnights, two are children, and 2 adults. It's looking very, very unfortunate over there. But all things can be resolved. I am an optimist. I really am, just by nature. So I'm very hopeful in this family making amends with one another, especially because there are children involved. So hopefully they can all meet up at the barbecue or at the holiday dinner, and they could all the Bryans can get together and make amends, as well as the other family. But I do want to go ahead and get into the Rob Report, and let's go ahead and get that going, Andy.
Now it's time for a breakdown.
Everywhere I turn on social media, you have people talking about they don't want to get married nowadays. But why? Why? They're talking about the fact that somebody is going to end up with the short end of the stick. And we'll talk about Mary J. Blige, who just opened up about her alimony and what she had to go through after her divorce. And so now that the tables have turned, because so many people have pointed out that men typically get the short end of the stick, we're going to talk about Mary J. Blige and see what people have to say about that. We'll break that down. We're also going to talk about B. Simone, who is actually a really good friend. She's an actress, an entrepreneur, podcast host. She does, and a comedian, by the way. She sort of made her mark as a comedian first. She was actually friends with Jackie O, a really close friend with Jackie O. But people are accusing her of monetizing off of her friend's passing. We'll talk about what they are looking at, why people are turned off by what she's doing, what she's saying, and is she wrong in this situation, or is she just living her life? Speaking of Jackie O, we're going to talk about Azealia Banks. Azealia Banks, would you call her a rapper? Is she a rapper technically? I think she does some rap music, not necessarily well known for that, but she's more known for making controversial statements, to be quite honest with you. And she also is making reference to Jackie O and her passing. We will tell you why it is so distasteful. We're going to break that down for you. And hopefully we can get to this Bob Marley's son story, Rohan Marley. He is being sued right now by a former employee. We'll tell you why on the other side. We're going to go ahead and get to our entertainment contributor on the other side as well. You are listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay right there.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Eric Bellinger hanging out right here with my family at The Rob Report. Keep it locked.
You're inside The Rob Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey LA, keep your utility bills low this summer while making your home the cool place to be. LADWP can help you save hundreds with air conditioner and thermostat rebates, plus free energy efficient home upgrades and simple tips to help you beat the heat and save money. Visit ladwp.com/cool-LA.
Your health is important, so keep yourself and your family covered with Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal renewals will be happening soon, so if you have Medi-Cal, make sure you don't miss any important renewal information. If you've moved in the last 3 years, check and update your mailing address, email address, and phone number. Learn more at keepmedicalcoverage.org. That's keepmedicalcoverage.org. Paid for by the California Department of Healthcare Services.
The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights. For over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, and clear pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like BizCamp, Construction Career Academy, Bob Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial mission to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talent, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Rob Report. With Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Well, shout out to all of you guys inside our YouTube chat. I see you. Thank you. Yeah, Fahim, I can't wait to. I'm going to get to that. We're actually going to get to that first. But first, let's go ahead and get our entertainment contributor in here, whom I love, TK Trinidad. Hello. Happy Wednesday. How are you?
Happy Wednesday. I'm good. How are you doing?
You know, I'm ultimately good. My spirits are high, but me and this little thing that you hear going on in my throat are about to throw down. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus.
There it is. Yeah. Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you so much. And everybody, send your hands this way. Everybody, send your hands in my direction and pray. Anyway, yes, I am in great spirits, though, but I truly appreciate that. TK, I don't know if it's just me, but after this was, I think, in early March, we had a whole discussion about Gary Owen and his wife, or ex-wife now, Kenya, who there was a whole alimony thing and how she felt as though he was leaving her high and dry. And I posted a clip on my social media. To this day, that Gary Owen and Kenya clip is probably the most viewed, the most commented on. It triggers so many people. And the reason is you have men coming from far and wide and everyone who's really saying these days it's not worth it to get married. And they're saying because if it dissolves, it ends up in divorce or anything else, usually somebody's going to end up with the short end of the stick. No one seems to have faith in fairness anymore, right? And it's funny that it usually is the men who's like, I'm never going to get married. Getting married is the craziest thing ever. But here is a situation where, we're talking about Mary J. Blige, who she recently opened up about all of her financial sort of woes that she had in the past. She owed hundreds of millions, according to her, hundreds of millions of dollars in back taxes and all of that. But she also opened up about having to pay spousal support for her then husband from 2016 to 2018. She was paying $30,000 a month to her ex-husband. And she actually, we have a clip of it. Let's go ahead and let's listen to what she had to say, and we'll get your comments on it.
What advice would you give as far as for a woman that may be wealthy, well off, and they're looking to get married?
Get a prenup. Because I didn't have one. And that's why I ended up having to just give everything away, because it's so, let me just speak, it's so whack right now that men, can come at you and get, and get alimony. So when I was getting a divorce, I was like, you mean to tell me I got to pay him? And he cheated and he lied and he stole, and, not to get all petty, but you know what I'm saying? You mean I gotta pay him for cheating and lying to me and ruining my life? So yeah, and the law is you have to, so I say get a prenup, cover yourself up, yeah.
Listen, if you're watching me on YouTube and you see me laughing, it's because Andy is over here giving me his comments on everything. Andy, I'm going to get to you because I want to hear what you have to say. But TK, tell me what you think about this situation. Number one, are we in a state where most people, and by a state, I'm not talking about because I'm in California. I'm just saying the state of our society right now. Are we in a place where people just don't want to get married and they automatically assume that someone's going to be ending up paying spousal support or alimony, and usually it's the men who are saying that. But then Mary J. Blige opens up about she feels like she got the short end of the stick because she wasn't the one who committed the adultery. She wasn't the one who was stealing money and so on and so forth, but she got stuck with paying $30,000 a month and having to go back to work and earn a lot more money just to be able to pay him. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, depending on the state, too, you have to remember that even if you don't get married, if you're together for like a ridiculous amount of years, I think it's like 7 in California, they can still take you, like, it's kind of sort of a divorce without even getting married. So you can still, file for alimony and all that type of stuff. But if you look at like back in the day, and this is like when the dowries and all that stuff was happening, marriage was a business.
Yeah.
And not to say to take love out of it. There's, when they did that, doesn't mean that every, marriage that happened back in that day was great or it was bad or all the stuff. But there was definitely a business element to it. And I think that sometimes we go by the emotions, and sometimes we have to take a step back and, put the business to it. So it's like, yes, I want to marry you. And then essentially take a step back and think of all the worst case scenarios, because you're never really going to know how somebody's really going to react until after a breakup or a divorce happens.
Absolutely.
Like, you're never going to see that side of that person because like that doesn't happen until that happens. And you're like, oh, who is this person?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, and it might seem like heartless and cold, but it's kind of like, well, if we're going to have kids together, we're going to do this together. Like, what does that all look like? And not to say, oh, well, this person has a low credit score, therefore X, Y, and Z. But it's like, look at all the things. There should be, and I'm sure there is, some relationship coach has it somewhere. There should be kind of a checklist before you get married that you should look at from a business standpoint. And if it doesn't make sense business-wise and you still go and do it, when it all kind of, falls flat in space, then you have nobody to blame but yourself.
Man,
or you look at it and you're like, okay, well, how are we going to correct this?
I'm telling you, I want to have an entire conversation surrounding this because there's so much to it. Andy, please jump on this mic and give me your thoughts, because I do want to know, people, there is this concept, this idea that we think you should get married for love. I want to marry the love of my life, and I want to have a partnership with the love of my life. But to your point, TK, it really is about business, and we should really think with that in the forefront. But Andy, give me your thoughts on this whole Mary J. Blige and paying alimony thing.
It's kind of amusing hearing this from Mary J. Blige, specifically a woman. But considering her status, I understand it 100%. I mean, I harken back to Britney Spears and I forgot that dude's name.
Kevin Federline.
Yeah. He straight hustled her. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a man or woman of need, of means, you got to protect yourself regardless. And in an ideal world, when you enter a marriage, you would think that it's all about love.
Right.
But when you become married, there's all these other legalities that kind of play into it that can mess things up.
Yeah.
So if you don't go in with the right intentions, I'm sorry, you got to protect yourself at all times.
So yes or no, Andy, is marriage today still a good idea?
I think you asking the wrong person. Look,
boy.
Once again, if your intentions are love, then yes. But if you're going in for any other reason outside of love, I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
All right. Well, Fahima, she says she has a friend who makes six figures, and he had his daughter's mother pay him child support. She was a teaching assistant. He then married his lawyer that handled his case, which I think is wow. Marriage isn't the problem, she says. Before anyone says I do, be sure he or she can. Oh, that's interesting. Pretty Brown Mimi says marriage is a good thing, just a prenuptial agreement, and don't get married in a community property state, Florida, California, New York, etc. Sort of to your point, TK. It's really unfortunate because I get it. I got married. I'm happily married, though, and you really have to be careful of the type of person that you marry. You have to foresee what how this person even deals with things on a day-to-day basis, how they act, how fair are they. And I'm talking about not in your relationship. That's the best way to see is when they're in general. How do they treat people in their daily lives? Would they return a wallet that they found? Just being fair and not take the money out of it, return a wallet with everything in it. You have to be careful who you are marrying. And I believe the signs are there before you actually say I do. I believe you can see all of that. The problem is a lot of people, I'm not even going to say most people, but a lot of people bury those red flags that they see. They choose not to see it because they feel like, you know what, I can, this person is going to change with me. I can change this person. Or they're trying to get married to this person for other reasons. And so it's really sad. I do believe in marrying for love, but I also believe that you have to take care of your business. That's just sort of unfortunate for her that she had to end up in this situation. But I was very curious because everyone says don't do it, and most people are talking about for the men. Do you have any, first of all, for men who say that they don't want to get married, how does this work out now, TK? Are we just living a life of just shacking up now? Everything is against the Bible, by the way. So I'm not even going to talk biblically. Nobody's paying attention to the word. So are we shacking up now? How does this work? How do you go long term without actually going through with your marriage? You just shacking up?
Well, I think it's depending on the intention. Like, I think in this society, like I was talking today at work where, there was a time where there was just like phones. You call the phone, you left a voicemail, and, it usually takes somebody 24 hours, couple hours to get back to you. Now if you text, you expect somebody to like get back to you as soon as possible. And I think that's the same thing with relationships where it's like, once it gets hard, you're like, nah, I can just swipe. Like, this is cool. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. Like the moment there's like, it's not even like a red flag. It's something that you have to work at because, and you're the happily married one. So you let me know, even though you're happily married, it's still work.
Yeah. 100%.
So like people don't realize that. So it's like the moment it gets hard, people want to exit the relationship. And again, this is barring the extremes, abuse and all those things. Sure. But like, there's things where I think people really stop being in a relationship because it's hard and they feel like they can go somewhere else. And it's so easy to access so many people, like through dating apps, through social media, through all the things, that it's like it's easy to get into another relationship if they want to. And it's easy to get into a situationship, which I think is even more common now versus it was, 20 years ago.
You know what? Remember the days, well, I'm sure it dates back far beyond my time of when I was born, but remember the days when your access to people was only as large as your community, your circle, where you went to church or school, and that was it. You could meet someone at the grocery store, but typically that was going to be in your community, or you could meet them through a mutual friend, but again, that's within a circle. There were those times where you'd meet someone and you made it work. But nowadays, it does feel like what you were saying. You meet people, you start dating somebody and you don't want to even go through anything. The moment y'all hit, an argument, you're like, all right, I'm out, because you feel like there's someone else. I can swipe left, I can swipe right, I can get on social media, I can, you feel like you have access to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And it's just so unrealistic. So really, really unfortunate. But I will say this, shockingly, I want to ask who said no. If you're bold enough to tell me who said no. In the poll, our YouTube poll, I have the question, is marriage still a good idea today? 88% of you say yes. And 12, somebody said no. I want to know who said no and why. So if you are so bold enough to either put it in the chat or call and let me know why, I would love to hear that point. But shout out to Mary J. Blige, who is doing a fantastic job on Power, and she's still doing her music. She's still doing so many other things, and she now says she's taking control of her life, her money, all of those good things, and she's no longer paying that alimony. So shout out to her. When we come forward, we're going to talk about this B. Simone thing and this Jackie O situation. It's a really sad thing. It's a touchy subject, but we're going to talk about it after our news, traffic, and sports. You are still inside the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay right there.
Hey, I'm Damian Young. I'm chilling with Robin on the Rob Report.
More of the Rob Report with Robin Ayers when we come forward.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A bipartisan team of senators is asking TikTok's CEO to reveal whether the app allows China to store American user data. Tennessee Republican Marsha Blackburn and Connecticut Democrat Richard Blumenthal addressed a letter to CEO Shou Chu asking him to disclose the information. Chu testified before the House earlier this year and held that the Chinese government did not have access to the data. Well, he was 12 when it happened, but now a 13-year-old Minneapolis, Minnesota boy accused of driving a stolen vehicle and leading police on a chase before slamming into a bus stop is facing felony charges. He's charged with criminal vehicular operation, receiving stolen property, and fleeing a peace officer in a motor vehicle. And a new report shows Los Angeles, California does not have enough firefighters. There's simply not enough crews to handle the current number of emergency calls. I'm Julius White on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Some good news in Westchester. Sigalert has been cleared on the 405 northbound at Howard Hughes Parkway. All lanes have been reopened. In Sun Valley, in the 5 northbound at Sheldon Street, got a crash clearing over to the right shoulder. In Pomona, 10 eastbound at Fairplex Drive, got that disabled vehicle still blocking the right lane. And in Industry, 605 northbound right at the 60. Still got that crash in the second lane from your left. It's slow from the 105.
Ready to take control of your phone plan? Well, then you better take that next turn to a Verizon store. Because my plan from Verizon is the kind of control we all deserve. Get exactly what you want. Only pay for what you need. Get my plan at your Verizon store today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A couple of numbers to keep track of tonight in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. The Denver Nuggets are 0-3 in the playoffs when center Nikola Jokic scores 40 or more points, and they've lost 7 straight games when Jokic has 5 or fewer assists. A weird formula for the Nuggets, but it is something for Nuggets and Miami Heat fans to keep an eye on. The Dodgers are in Cincinnati for the second game of their 6-game road trip. The Dodgers bullpen needs to make up for a serious breakdown on Tuesday. The bullpen blew a 5-run lead. They allowed 5 runs, 9 hits, and walked 4. Coco Gauff lost to Iga Swiatek in the French Open quarterfinals today. Gauff went down in 2 sets, 6-4, 6-2. Gauff lost to Swiatek in the French Open final last year. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Did you know that all City of LA renters have rights? Check out these 3 facts. Residential tenants can't be evicted without reason or just cause. Eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt due before March 31st, 2023. And you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice. 5 days. Many Angelinos may be at risk of losing their home, and that's why we want you to know your rights. Learn more at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice and injustice, the courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Ariva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Ariva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Keeping you informed about what's really going on. Who's got next? And what not to miss in entertainment. You're listening to the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are inside the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Again, happy heavenly birthday to the late, great Prince. Oh, I can listen to Prince all day. That's the vibe. Thank you, Andy, for that. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, welcome. Welcome into the Raw Report. We were just talking about alimony and marriage. And is it a good idea? A lot of people say no. A lot of people say no. We were talking about Mary J. Blige and how after her divorce, she had to pay alimony for her ex-husband from 2016 to 2018, $30,000 a month. In fact, she had to go back to work. She was touring and doing all of these things just to be able to pay this alimony. In addition to, she had some other financial troubles that she was getting past. But Kwamel said, and I agree with this so much. She says, we got to learn how to spend significant time and grow old with someone again. Thank you for saying that. That's a whole word right there. Penny Thompson says, getting married is easy. Staying married successfully is the key. Woo! Respect, love, understanding, compassion, communication, and so much more. It's a lifelong commitment. And she knows what she's talking about. Let's go ahead and get TK Trinidad back in here. And I want to talk about B. Simone, whom I adore her. She's a comedian. She's an entrepreneur. All of these wonderful things. But she was also really good friends with Jackie O. So she is grieving at this time. Her dear friend, sincerely, authentically grieving her friend, who as you know, we've talked about this over the past several days. Jackie O passed away allegedly from a mommy makeover. She has some sort of difficulties, and she passed away after she got to the hospital. She is the mother of 3 kids, DC Young Fly, his children. And B. Simone is now catching a lot of heat because let me give you the background and how this works. On Instagram specifically, you can post things. You can post things on your actual page. You can post reels, which are more video based. You can post things in your Instagram stories, which are, they go away every 24 hours. I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about. But there's a very specific thing that you can do called close friends. And you can label who you want your close friends to be. And when you post things, you can make sure that they only go to your close friends and not the entire amount of people who are following you. Well, I want to be clear. B. Simone had already been charging people. She had already been charging people to become close friends. Now, that's not necessarily supposed to be a thing. You don't charge people to be your close friend. But that's what she was doing to sort of weed out all the people, like who's really here because they want to support me. So that's what she was doing. So I want to make it clear. But she did post something that people are not happy about. The fact that she went and said, she recently posted after her friend's passing, she says, if you're not on my close friends, you're not going to see much of my life during this time. Close friends, I love you. Thank you for being a safe space. But people thought that she's seemingly monetizing off of the death of her friend or off of the grieving process of her friend. I don't know what you think about this, TK. What are your thoughts on even her mentioning that unless you're a close friend, you won't necessarily see the behind the scenes of my life right now? Your thoughts on that? Do you take that as her sort of insinuating, hey, you need to pay me in order to become a close friend so you can see my grieving process and all that behind the scenes? Or do you see it as her just living her life and making a statement?
I think this is a case of we need to know more information and or jumping, to the wrong conclusions. And, we all are guilty of this once in a while on social media where we post a cryptic message and people can take it for what they will based off of what's going on in the world. And there's just not enough information, for me, yes, it's, they were close friends, but she already has the close friends. It's if she's in this grieving process, she wants to be around, if the people have paid this paywall and she already formed a community, then, maybe she's protecting herself. It's just, there's so many different elements. And my first inclination is not to jump down her throat. I think you said it at the top of the show. It's giving people grace and assuming that, they're not doing it for ill intention. Sure. So this post is way too, you can take it so many ways, and it seems like everybody's taking it in a negative way. And I've read some of the comments through, other postings. It's some people are for it, some people are against it, but until B. Simone actually says what exactly she's talking about, and she doesn't have to, because it's her Instagram page, etc., then I don't think it's right for us to assume that. And then also, we don't have to pay. You know what I'm saying? True. So it's kind of one of those things okay, you're getting upset at her, but then just don't pay. And if it upsets you that much, then just unfollow her.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, well said.
It seems very simple, but
Yeah, and I agree with you in that I've said this many times, just about with everything. When we were talking about Pride Month and how Target recently had they m- they took down, I'll say, some of the merchandise that they had for Gay Pride based on their customers' backlash and based on some of the team members were receiving death threats, and so they were concerned with the safety of their team. I understand that. But in regards to the customers who come in and they don't quite like what they see, well, it's not for you. Keep walking. Similarly, with B. Simone or anybody else for that fact, it trips me out how social media works these days. People wake up in the morning, it seems, just to go on social media, just to say something negative, just to get some sort of response. Because a lot of the times what happens is, and you may see the same thing, TK, is that people sometimes get well known off of their comments in these blogs, when they comment on the blogs, because if they comment enough and then they get so many likes and responses under their comments, they become well known based on that alone. So I think that is the key for a lot of people. That is the angle for a lot of people. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just means that you just threw your opinion out there, but nobody is giving the benefit of the doubt. Here is a woman who I believe is sincerely grieving her friend, and she's just saying, you guys are probably not going to see that unless you're a close friend. You're probably not going to see too much of my life right now. Because you have all kinds of realizations, in my opinion. When someone passes away, you start to see how other people act, and especially someone who's in the public eye. You see how people how they are, and so she's, I'm not mad at her for that statement at all. But it seems that people think that she's trying to monetize. Pretty Brown Mimi says it seems exploit. Oh wow. Okay, okay, so you believe that she's trying to exploit Jackie's family? Okay. That and again, everybody has their own opinion. I just say give the benefit of the doubt before we jump to conclusions. While we have a few minutes, I did want to go ahead and get to Azalea Banks, who actually, based on this same thing, on Jackie O. Here is the backstory on Azalea Banks. I'm going to say this pretty quickly for anybody who does not know. She is a rapper / public figure of some sort. I don't quite know exactly what she does, but she is music artist. But she's more well known because she says she's gotten into a lot of beef with a lot of different people over the years. So people know her, but it's more so because she's controversial. Well, she went on Wildin' Out, which is Nick Cannon's famous, big popular show that he has. And she had sort of this encounter with DC Young Fly, again, who was the partner of Jackie O. And he clowned her. He clowned her enough to make her cry. Okay, she cried on the show. I mean, but she also clowned him. She was also doing this. It was this whole back and forth thing. This happened years ago. But she still had this she was very passionate about getting back to him in some way, shape, or form. With that back knowledge being said, she wrote this in regards to Jackie O's passing. She said, DC Young Fly spent years disguising his own deeply rooted hatred of self as jokes pointed at women's beauty, projecting his own feelings about his own ugliness onto women perfectly secure in their own skin. She continued to say what you want about my tears. They were pure tears of rage, and and not all of it was weakness. She says, but in the end, I won. She talks about how Jackie O must have been a deeply insecure woman about herself. She says that she goes on and on about him, and then she says, ironically, this is about Jackie O, dead at 32, exactly on my 32nd birthday, May 31st, 2003, in Miami. She is basically making a mockery of the fact that the woman who was with DC Young Fly has passed away. She talks about this karma and things like that. What do you get of this? This is, to me, the most distasteful thing you could ever do. And I don't even know if she cares at this point about her career or making herself look good further herself in her career at all, because this is just horrible. What are your thoughts on that, TK?
Well, I mean, she's been doing and saying stuff like this for years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, I agree. It's disgusting. And the fact that, you know, it's mother of three, like whatever your feelings may, but the fact with her tears and everything that happened with DC Young Flies happened so many years ago, is like, you should be over that. So that's more of a maturity thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's like, Azealia Banks is more known for, you know, these crazy statements and accusing people of stuff and all this stuff versus, you know, her, I guess I agree with Andy, like entertainer career.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and then on top of that, we pay attention when she does that. So
exactly.
I think if we can make a collective effort, if we are all kind of disgusted with this, you know, this is more a publication type thing,
Mm-hmm.
a collective effort just to ignore her, then, you know, none of that stuff will, you know what I'm saying? So it's disgusting, but like, it's not surprising.
I agree with you. Can we all just make a concerted effort to leave Azealia Banks alone? I just think that she needs to sit down somewhere, take a time out, and leave people alone. This is the most distasteful thing that you could ever do. And I'm not one to wish bad, negative, nothing on anyone, but you want to talk about karma, and she's saying that Jackie O's death is pretty much, she's making a mockery of it and basically calling it karma for DC Young Fly's problem with her and mockery of her. But I'm telling you right now, that is something you do not want to mess with. You do not put your nastiness on people's names like that. And so I don't know. I was just mentioning her as a throwaway, so I'm not even concerned about Azealia Banks like that. Not too much of a topic for me at all. But I'm still sending love and condolences to DC. This is I'm sure this is still very, very new for him, and he's got to figure out a whole new way of life for him and his children and the rest of their family. So sending love and prayers to them. TK Trinidad, I appreciate you as always. Let everybody know where they can find you online.
Thanks for having me. You can find me on everything, everywhere at TK Trinidad.
Yes, you can. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your night and hope to talk with you next week as well. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
When we come forward, as you already know, we've got your Who's Got Next and what not to miss on the other side. You are listening to The Rob Report on KBLA, Talk 1580.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Lil Real. Right now, I'm hanging out with Robin on The Rob Report. That's right.
You're inside The Rob Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tina Turner's hometown to build a statue in her honor. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. On May 24, news spread of the death of the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner, who died at 83 years old. Turner's representatives say she died of natural causes after long illness. The mayor of Tina's hometown has since revealed plans to build a statue in honor of Turner. Bill Rawls Jr., mayor of Brownsville, reveals his hope to have the sculpture placed in Heritage Park near the high school Tina attended as a teenager. She was born in the same town in 1939. Rest in peace to the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner. I'm Maisha Cairo for KBLA Talk 1580, and that's your K-Black Minute News.
Have you faced discrimination in Los Angeles? The City of LA Civil Rights Department can help. They investigate private sector discrimination in LA City in commerce, education, employment, and housing. If you're facing discrimination, submit a complaint online for free at laisforeveryone.com. That's laisforeveryone.com or call 213-978-1845.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that's between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Eligibility criteria apply and funding is limited. For more information, visit covidpaidsick.com. If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. For more information, visit covidpaidsick.com.
Here are 3 ways to commemorate Juneteenth from AARP. 1. Learn the full history. Juneteenth was the end of slavery, but there's more. Begin by learning the whole story. 2. Celebrate. Celebrating our freedom should be a party with a purpose, with family, friends, fellowship, and oh yeah, food. 3. Support black-owned business. In 1865, we had little to nothing, but as a people, we've been richly blessed. Express your gratitude by supporting our black-owned businesses.
What would you call a joy that is as solemn as it is sweet and knows no bounds? A joy that's beautifully rooted in soul and resilience. This is Black Joy, a joy that reflects pride and honor despite every challenge. AARP believes the power of Black joy is limitless, and we celebrate this joy supreme. Join us in celebrating Black joy at aarp.org/blackcommunity.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Robin Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Well. We have a great Who's Got Next. They're always so great. Sometimes I know them, sometimes I don't. But this person I've actually heard of before. I've heard some of his other music. This one came out 7 days ago, and actually he's featuring someone else who I love, Black and Casey. So this is Tolliver, and it's called Plans. Let's check it out.
Oh Lord, Jetson made another one.
What should I do? I need you in my bed. I had plans for the night. Let me get it right, show you how I. She doing drugs times 2, better get her loose out her shoes. Watch all my moves and stay clear my goons. I been hard away, so be how we change. She be rolling me, say that she be by the day. I just smoke a pound of house and leave it how it ain't. I be right away, straight away. Might have to show you some love. Wait, girl, I got plans for us. I might blow your mind, but this is not a test. Lay you on your back, watch you yoga stretch. Did it right away, call me, you know I'm a scheme. Take away the pain, I'm like Novocaine. Tell me what you want, get it on the same day. You might go insane, let you rock my chain. Left wrist cold on froze. Show you how to stand 10 toes. Show you how to get in that mold. I'ma let you whip that roll. Want me to serve her a pack of that love and fact. Ready to go to the back and get it cracking, depending on how you act. What should I do? I need you in my bed. I had plans for the night. Let me get it right, show you how I. She doing drugs times 2, better get her loose out her shoes. Watch all my moves and stay clear of my goons. I been hard away, so be how we change. She be rolling me, say that she be by the day. I just smoke a pound of house and leave it how it ain't. I be right away, straight away. I ain't call my phone and leave a number right a day. I be pulling around the crib.
I see you, Andy. This is Don Tolliver, called Plans. It's a little vibe. I can't lie. It's a little vibe. 7 days ago, they released this. Again, with Black and Casey. Yeah, that's a vibe. It's a vibe. So go ahead and check him out. I put that in the, did I put that? I thought I put that in the YouTube chat. Anyway, his name is Don Tolliver Plans. Check it out. What I don't want you to miss. So I want to make my way over there. One of these years that they do this is the 3rd annual Black Ball. Is basically considered the Black Grammys that's happening in Atlanta. This is tomorrow. This is actually happening tomorrow, which is so cool. From the pictures that I've seen, everybody really, they dress to the nines. They put on their very best and their black ties and beautiful gowns. I mean, they come stunting. And one thing that I was just in Atlanta last month, and I was at a very nice event. And one thing I know about them is, first of all, Atlanta is its own. Their own metropolitan. It's. I mean, they got a thing going on over there. And it's like it belongs to them. Like, sure, they'll come over to LA and all of that stuff. But Atlanta, it's like that thing. I'm sure you all have heard about that black excellence in Black Atlanta. I mean, they really have their own thing that they love. They really take care of it. So this thing is no different. This is being put on by Quality Control. If you're familiar with the CEO of Quality Control, his name is Pierre P. Thomas. This is the 3rd annual Black Ball. It's actually in honor of his birthday. It's his birthday celebration, but they turned it into what's called the Black Grammys. So if you want to go out there and see just about everybody who's based in Atlanta, all the actors, all the musicians, the artists, and things like that, you can definitely go and check that out. Again, that's happening tomorrow. And one of these days, I have some friends over in Atlanta. If you're listening to me right now, let's make that happen. I'll host the red carpet, maybe, or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Got to be careful what you say, because once you start letting things out of your mouth, things will come to pass, and that is a fact. Kwamel, I want to say I agree with you. He says our people got to stop listening to bitter internet narratives. Come on now and preach. I agree with you, Kwamel. I want to say this just moving forward. We have to just do so much better. Humanity, we have to be so much better just regarding people. And this is not just on the internet or social media, just in general. When you meet people, you have to treat people well, think well of people first. Think well of them first, and not necessarily negative. I think society right now is telling us, is teaching us and training us to think negatively about people. But if you want to do great things and go great places, you have to be a good person. I truly believe that. Being a kind person, a good person, will get you indoors that your talent, money, or resources can't get you into. Being a good person can, though. So anyway, great show. Thank you so much to TK Trinidad. I'm going to fight this thing, whatever's going on in here. I'm going to, beat it up. Andy's hooking me up with some, concoctions and whatnot. So we're going to get it going on. But you guys, thank you so much for hanging in here with me. You are listening to The Rob Report. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. And remember, today and every day forward, to be a blessing.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The White House is not commenting on the controversial merger between the PGA Tour and the Saudi-backed Live Golf.
The State Department put out a